Welcome to episode 3 of the Blue Screen podcast, and I'm your host Abongile Papa, and today I'm going to be talking about a very controversial subject in the industry right now, which is when you actually get profitable and actually figure out a strategy to trade with. Do you want to go the personal trading account route or the prop firm trading account route? And I'm going to be breaking down the pros and cons, the pros of each, which one is stronger where, and we're going to define it too, because I'm aware that some of y'all might not even know what a prop firm is, but you have to be living under a rock to not know that. But we need to understand that we have some red screeners out here that do not actually know what a prop firm trading account is. And let me put a disclaimer out there that I'm not yet trading funded accounts, and I've not yet attempted a funded challenge yet, and that's more so because of procrastination. If anything it's because of procrastination, and I do plan to go that route, but I'm not rushing into it because I don't need to rush into it. So let's start by defining both of them. So when we talk about personal accounts, we're talking about you taking your hard-earned money into a brokerage account and then depositing your hard-earned money there for you to trade. And then when we talk about prop firm trading accounts, we mean that you buy a funded challenge. In terms of modern day prop firms especially, we talk about you buy a funded challenge, and then if you succeed, and that's a big if, because the failure rate is just as big as the failure rate in this industry anyways. So if you succeed, you get to trade someone else's money. So that's what prop firm trading account is. And let's break down the pros and cons of each and find out which one is stronger where. And let's first talk about risk, because for all you risk junkies, personal accounts are good for you because you can play around with risk a whole lot more. You're not restricted in terms of risk. You can trade as much as you feel like trading, and that's both a good and a bad thing, because with so much risk you can actually blow your account. Now imagine if you have 100,000 USD account and then you go on an emotional spiral, then you trade badly for that time, and then it turns out you're risking maybe 10%. That's how many chances you have to blow that account. 10, I think. 10. So that could end badly for you. Whereas in the prop firm trading account side, you actually buy a prop firm account. Your typical 100,000 USD account usually costs around 900 and something USD, around your 800 to 900 USD, which is a good risk to reward ratio just out the gate, So with this being said, the only bad thing with that, right, is that you are very restricted in terms of risk. You cannot risk how much you want, but it is safer for you because when you when you violate a prop firm trading account, you can always just buy another challenge for 900 and something USD and then get funded again, make your money again. And anyways, with most legit funded partners, funded prop firms, you actually get your deposit back after you pass the challenge. So you're not risking anything anyways. So if you violate, you can always just start the process over again. If you can trade, you definitely pass that challenge phase, which a lot of people are crying about, that it's so hard. What I guess I'll find out when I get into it, but for now I don't know. That's something I'm curious to see, And then now let's talk about safety, right? What do you mean? What do I mean when I say safety? Is it safer to put your money into a trading account, a brokerage account, or is it safer to put your money into a prop firm account? And I tend to lean more towards prop firm accounts, especially if you're trading with an unregulated broker, which is not something I would recommend anyways. So you could actually fund 100,000 USD of your hard-earned money, and just like I said, you could blow it. But other than that, let's say for Pete's sake you are a good trader and then you don't blow that 100,000 USD, and then you maybe run that 100,000 USD account into like 500,000 USD, and then that prop firm decides that it's shutting down now. What you're gonna do? Because if they are unregulated, then they probably not gonna pay you back. They just gonna run with your money, your 100,000 USD. But whereas you could like put down a 900 USD into a prop firm challenge and then pass that, and then you can trade with 100,000 USD. That's a lot of numbers to actually keep track of without visual things, but bear with me, man, bear with me. And then when you actually do that, you're not risking much because they're gonna pay you back anyways that your 900 and something USD if you pass that prop firm challenge anyways. So I tend to lean more on the prop firm side when it comes to safety. Yeah, I tend to lean more on that side when it comes to safety, although they can be restricting, but it's a little bit safer to trade with prop firms. Then now let's move on to the next subject, which is market conditions. People say this is what I've heard from prop firm traders that I know. They say that in terms of spreads and whatnot, prop firms tend to not perform very well in terms of that, you know, especially with me, because I like to trade with tight spreads. Like obviously there are actual prop firms that have good what you call this, market conditions, but that's your more developed prop firms, because the prop firm industry is in its infancy phase. So people are trying to figure out the most efficient yet cost-effective way to run that business model. So which is probably why, like, give it like 3 years, then they probably gonna have better market conditions. But generally, regulated brokers have the best market conditions. You get in, you get out without much slippage, you know. I've heard people crying about getting slipped over 40 pips in prop firm challenges, and you see, which is like crazy for you to get slipped 40 pips, and that's a lot. That messes up your risk reward by a lot. And some people get slipped and then they make extra profit because they got slipped, then they get happy, then the next trade they get slipped again and then it goes in their favor, and then they like crying now. It's crazy. So which is why I tend to lean more towards personal accounts in terms of market conditions, because I've not had any problems in terms of market conditions with the broker that I use, you know. And let's talk about like your usage of money, which is being liquid in financial terms, in like fancy terms, which is because right now, let's say you have 100,000 USD in your extra 100,000 USD in your bank account right now, right? You have two options. You could go the prop firm route and then deposit that whole 100,000 USD into that account, but then now you have less money to play around with, because as traders we should aim to have multiple streams of income, you know, like maybe invest into some real estate, you know. So you could actually fund that and then make your money, then reinvest, or you could actually put down a measly 900,000. What the hell am I talking about? 900,000, like, is it? Oh no, 900 USD into a prop firm challenge, where you're gonna get the same buying power where like you were trading with your 100,000 USD anyways, if you pass the challenge. This only applies if you're a good trader and you can pass these challenges. So in that terms, you have more money to play around with and invest into that real estate, invest into that podcast, invest into that media company, invest into that anything you want to invest in, man. But bottom line is, you are more liquid with prop firms. So I don't know which side won. I'm not counting. It's not like a thing where the one that has the most benefits wins, because some people might value that freedom that they have when trading personal accounts, and some people just might not care too much about that and care more about being safer in terms of like your money being safer. Anyways, that's all from me today, and I wish you all the blue screens in the world. Have a great trading week. It's a Monday today.